But we have a hand from Queen Asia Harmon. Please come in, Queen Asia Harmon.
Uh, Zola, everyone, pleased to be here. I absolutely loved this teaching, and I just want to say thanks because it was absolutely brilliant, my brother. And coming from someone that knew their spiritual gift very young, in teaching, I want to say thank you for this. And as a homeschooling mom myself, I can agree with you on a lot of what you presented today. And I would offer just, I think Queen Faith leave? Oh, she's here. I would offer a piece of advice for her, and I'm not quite sure how old her child is. But one of the biggest things that I teach my sons and my daughter is knowing what your spiritual gift is and operating in that power, because our power comes from our spiritual gifts. And when we know what our kids are great at and we can identify their spiritual gifts, we can then direct them in how to use that as their power. They're here for a purpose. They're here with a mission, and it has to be fulfilled. And so we have to teach them that in operating in their power, they will bless the community. They will uplift the community. They will make a difference because they're operating in their power. So that's one thing I would say. And I would say now that the British Empire or whatever empire has taken over the lands we live in, they put these currencies in place for a reason. Our original way of exchanging was just exchanging goods and services, whatever that currency was, whether it was seashells or, gold or whatever the case may be. It was something that was accessible to us. It's something that we could trade if we did not have access to gold or something else. We always exchanged our goods and our services, our spiritual gifts. So we have to get back to not putting so much emphasis on money. Money divides us. Money divides us, rich, poor, middle class. Some have, some don't. Some can eat, some cannot. And so it divides us. Anything that divides us needs to be thrown out to me. And that's just my personal opinion. And we need to go back to uplifting each other. And agriculture is definitely one way we can make sure everyone has what they need. Everyone can eat. Everyone can be okay. And so we need to get back to agriculture most definitely. And we have to protect our lands. These people are going around the world stealing and robbing us of the land because they know that the land is the way that we survive. Our food, our nourishment, our everything comes from the earth, the land. And so they're buying it up so that they can have control over us. So I love this message. And I just wanted to say one more thing that I noticed that they did when I decided to take my kids out of school. We are spiritual beings. And so what they did was they taught us in our flesh. Everything that they teach us is fleshly, and it's to basically work their systems, the systems that they put in place. So they don't teach us about our emotions. They don't teach us about our spiritual essence, because they know once we know that, they know that what they're teaching is going to be like, okay, well, what do I need this for? It's their way of keeping us in an earthly plane and not ascending to the spiritual plane. So I'm going to stop there. I was extremely blessed by this teaching. And I just want to say thank you, my brother, and may the Most High continue to bless you.
Wow. What a beautiful comment and contribution.
Thank you, Sister Asia.
Wow, that's really amazing. Any other contribution from Yabara Victors in Nigeria? The world that has two sons. One I think is almost 15, somewhere there. I hope she's been able to be blessed with some of the messages that have been shared today. Queen Wilda Porto joined us today as well. Love and blessings to you. Brasibai Chisike also, love and blessings. We're coming to the end of our session in a few minutes, but I really wanted to say the Twino as well made an amazing comment as well. And the Majaliwa said something very important in the beginning, because when I was in the conscious community, and they used to say that education is the key, but school is the lock. And now Elder Majaliwa is saying that education is the key, but the key can open a door and close another. Elder Majaliwa. So the education system of the West, even though it's a key, I don't know what context Nelson Mandela was saying it, but I'm sure he wasn't referring to it closing the door, my elder.
Yeah, I think he was just looking at the key on one angle. Maybe in those days, only the keys were to open. Some lockers at that time were just locked by manually like this. You put them together and they are locked. And then you have to bring the key to open. So he thought maybe all the padlocks, those were called padlocks, you lock them using your hand, then you open them with a key. But we've got so many, like the house I'm using here. All the locks are opened by the key and are locked by the key. So the key itself can lock and unlock.
My God.
So the education we have, like Twinos put it, is to lock us from our ancestry. So we don't know our ancestry because we don't learn our ancestry in school. How do we remember it? We don't even tell our children about our fathers, our grandfathers. We don't even tell them. If you give them the name of your grandfather, that name becomes old-fashioned. So they will eventually change the name to another European name. If we don't keep on reminding people about how much we have been traumatized, people will begin to adopt even Chinese names when Chinese start doing things to them, or the way they are now impregnating our sisters around the continent. So children will begin to have Chinese name as well. When you tell them about your ancestors, and your ancestor is Ngalangala, or is Avyarimana, or is Asambakanya, so the name becomes hard to pronounce. Then they prefer calling themselves David, Johnson, Jackson, which has no meaning at all in them. So the key is a dangerous element in all aspects. It can open, and sometimes the key can open the door which you are not meant to open. Then you open that door and all the water flows on you. You get wet. The more you start struggling, closing the door, but water still are flowing on you. Have you ever seen some few things like in the cities? They say, danger, don't open. The high voltage, don't open. Which means if you ignore the notice, you go ahead and open high voltage, you will not walk. You just die on the spot. So there are things we learn in school which inhibit our innovation. Sister Asia put it, you need to begin to have a conversation with your children to find their areas of interest and what they are capable of, so that your education at home should be around the areas they are capable of. If they are capable of cooking, let them develop an area in cooking, so that in future they may be cooking for people and get money. They may be employed maybe 1 or 2 years to understand the dishes around the area, and then they begin their own business. Because if they operate in the area they like, they will not feel tired. They will be there passionately. But you love cooking, you go learn accountancy, or you go learn pharmacy. You distribute drugs in the hospital, but your interest is on cooking. So you will not love your job, and you will have difficulty of performance. So the key is very important. We need to understand which key are we using. Are we using this key to open or to close? But it is very evident that the key we use in Africa is to close. If Mandela had the key to open, the Zulu had could, or the minority, the majority Africans could have the wealth of South Africa. But the key they thought they had was closing. They've got big institutions in South Africa. But what they learn in those big institutions is nothing. It's not translated into innovation, into doing things. How can you have an institution and you have people who learn carpentry in the institution, but still you purchase furniture from China? You have no workshop in the school where your own graduate can be structuring some furniture. And what happened is, if you make furniture in South Africa, people will not buy, they will go and buy what comes outside. Why? Because the curriculum has been designed to let them despise what they have and admire what they don't have. No wonder the Asians are even selling these fake butts, these fake buttocks to our women. Well, our women have been blessed with the round butts, but they still go ahead and buy from the Chinese who have nothing in their back. They have nothing, it's just flat. They were the ones to wear, but they don't wear and sell to our sisters, and our sisters buy. Well, they already have nyash. They go and buy extra nyash. Why that? Mindset is being polluted. So we need to begin to find what our children can do and let them apply the key to open what they can do. And what they can do, let it flow. I even told my daughter, now you are not performing well in mathematics. Your few years of secondary school, drop mathematics. Leave it. You don't have to struggle on things you don't understand. Focus on cooking. And now she's doing cooking. She's now trying to operate in cooking industry, because that was her interest. So I kept on pushing. I told her, in cooking, there's no mathematics. There's no x, y square. I don't know, x, find the value of x. There, it is find the value of this recipe. So focus on what you can do. Whatever you can do, you can understand, leave it. So if we narrow their mind in one subject or two, it's enough. Whatever you learn in school, leave it. Focus on what you can do. That's all. Why do they bring so many subjects? Just to confuse. You do 4 years for a bachelor degree. You learn a lot of subject with nonsense. The same content keep repeating itself. In the end, you don't get a job. Then you get a job from somewhere else. So the key to life is self-knowledge. Key to life is self-knowledge. Do you really know yourself? That's why even our marriages collapse. Because when we enter into marriage, we only learn the other person. We don't learn ourselves. You keep on learning your husband or your wife, telling them about their mistakes. Do you really know your own mistake? You only know the mistakes of the other person. What about yours? If they tell you your mistakes, you become annoyed. We need to begin to know ourselves. And when we know ourselves, that's the key to life. Thank you.
Amazing. Majaliwa